All right, Coach Helen for YouFit Studio / soon to be Village. Get that one in. So today I'm talking about actually the cooking process. Yes, does that. How to? This is some simples. It might appear as simples. However, sometimes it's taking an element of something and maybe changing your view on it just a tad, so that you may gain some different perspective and therefore a different way of looking at your existing way of approaching food and what you're currently doing. Because actually there's some simple changes that you can make which can fundamentally change the way in which you deal with your nutrition. Now specifically, what I'm looking at today is more to do with actually the process of said cooking. Now, this might seem like, and I apologise to some if it's a bit like sucking eggs, like how to little boil eggs is to some degree as well, if it is ever so obvious. However, one of the most common questions, and I will come back to this, I've got another live coming up on this similarly question that I get from clients who are relatively new. It's just like, what can I eat to lose weight? What can I eat to lose weight, Helen? And actually, when you're when I'm going through their food or working with the food with them, actually what they're eating, as in the item of food in itself, is actually pretty decent. I mean, most people do not send me continual pictures of pizza and donuts. I mean, I would probably enjoy it, I have to be honest. I probably would. However, they don't. They send me things that are, relatively speaking, actually, the item of food itself is actually pretty decent, and that will give the perception to the client prior to when we get into this that actually what they're eating is healthy. And actually, I could argue that the item itself, it is. However, the way in which it has been cooked means that they've taken an item that it was actually pretty conducive to what they're aiming for, supportive in their goals of health, and maybe moved it somewhere else on the I like to call it the spectrum of what would help them get to a position of losing weight or fat. Let's use a technical term, losing body fat or changing size, whatever you want to call it. So sometimes what clients are looking for is they're because they're not lost weight eating these foods, they'll either go one of two ways. Either they'll fundamentally believe that what they're eating is healthy regardless, and arguably okay, or secondly, they'll start to try and take that food out or replace elsewhere with still little success, because actually what they are doing is still using the same methods of cooking to some degree, and therefore they're still taking said items and increasing the calorific value, and therefore not giving themselves an energy balance that helps them lose weight. And you can watch my live on that to explain that there's no calorie deficit, and therefore they are not actually losing weight fundamentally in the way that we would like them to, or body fat. Still correcting myself. I think we're safe. I don't think we've got any animals bombing us today. Just checking. So again, it's more about how you cook what it is rather than what you're choosing to eat, right? So some of the things I was brainstorming this earlier because I noticed it's quite a one that comes up quite a lot. Now, I'm going to make this point. I'm okay with this point. I'm going to say this point. 1 cow spray is okay, people. If Layla was on this live, she'd send me a face again, because to some degree it's been debated by a lot of different people. However, actually, honestly, personally, I don't have an issue with it. I don't. If it's helping someone towards the goal and they're not literally spraying it into their mouth for any reason. I don't know if you would. I mean, it'd be more about my concern about your personality over if you're losing body fat, not if you're spraying 1 cal into your mouth. However, actually, when it comes to in terms of fat loss, 1 cal spray is okay, people. I mean, you could argue that it's there's lots of other stuff in it. I mean, it's still on that spectrum, right? And what I want to make clear is that there's nothing wrong with it because it sits on the spectrum. Now, if you are currently or have been taking, I don't know, what can we go with? A sweet potato Nice. Yeah. And then chuck it in the oven with 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I mean, extra virgin does make it healthy, right? However, if that is where you are at the moment, at one particular part of that spectrum, actually bringing that down, bring it down tablespoons, yeah, I've gone to an extreme, but taking that to 1 cow spray, I mean, that is still going to create an energy deficit, basically, calorie deficit. So you're still going to make small improvements on what you're consuming, just based on purely how you're choosing to cook said, let's pretend there's one there, sweet potato. I don't know why I did that. This sweet potato. It's still fundamentally going to be changed and less calories for you if that's how you've been cooking it all the way along prior to starting to look at the details. Devil's in the details. I've got to use it again. It's true though. So just we're on the topic of that, a lot of people will say, right, okay, so what is, how much oil should we be using? What's right? I see these recipes, it has these oils, blah, blah. I mean, you guys as clients will know that we say teaspoon per person. Done. Right? Done. And it's not teaspoon. I remember watching, oh God, this is showing my age. Apologies. Mr. Floyd. If anyone has ears, you're too young, and I hate you. He was doing the measurements of oils. I don't know what the spoon was there for. It was just kind of there for, I don't know, dramatic effect of pouring. But he's like, yes, it's still like this. The spoon's anywhere near. It's just like that. Just a couple of tablespoons of oil. I kind of raised on that generation. I think my mum really loved that, I feel. Quite a lot of that I saw. Floyd on something. Floyd on a lot of oil, as it turns out, in red wine. However, and if you don't know his YouTube, that stuff, it's quite entertaining. However, getting back to my initial point, teaspoon is actually a level teaspoon per person is adequate enough in terms of when you're adding oil to any dish or cooking oils, etc. If you're not on the 1 cow situation. That's cool, right? Actually, calorifically cool, about right, doesn't make anything swim as it comes onto the plate, and actually will really sustain somebody towards their goals. Now on that, this is how I like to do it with some clients. It's called the traffic light system. I like a traffic light. If you've seen them in real life, I like to use traffic lights over the place. I'm a person of colour. However, how you cook everything does make a difference. So, which end should I go first? Oh, let's go to the other end. Let's say red. Danger. Red. Okay, so red. So if we take, take a potato. This will go sweet. Let's forget about sweet potato for a bit and just take standard potato. I should just cut some potatoes. Let's take a white potato. Let's pretend it's right there. Not this one. That was a sweet potato. We've got rid of that. This one. If we're saying we're taking this up to one end of the scale, and we're going to use red for this, I'm going to put a colour on it. If we're going to take said potato, put my hands down now, and mash it, I'll do something else, mash it and add some, I don't know, butter in or double cream, that is one way of taking that potato and just smashing it with calories, right? So principally, when a client says, what can I eat to lose weight? I eat potatoes, I eat a lot of potatoes and I don't lose weight. That's probably because they're taking this potato that I'm imagining got in my hand and doing some of these things. So putting a lot of milk in, maybe whatever milk, all right, is what it is. Loads of butter, maybe some cream, and maybe some cheese if it's that's right. So the perception is I eat potato and I can't lose weight because I eat potatoes and eat a lot of potatoes, and therefore potatoes not good for me. White potatoes are bad. I've heard I shouldn't eat potatoes. And it's not actually about the potato, again, it's about what's going into the potato for the cooking purposes. You could say the same with if everybody's got into the loaded potato situation or loaded fries. That stuff is just insane. The calories can go through the actual roof. Chips, we know, is just general. You know, take the potato and fry it, deep fry it, and then load it with stuff, and there you go. That's why potatoes have a bad rap, because people immediately associate them with the things they actually eat, which is chips or fries. Then let's go. Okay, so there's the red. If we're going into orange or amber, whatever you want to call it, you may want to take the potato and add only a teaspoon of butter, right, again. So we're taking the principle of fats, adding in appropriately, maybe a little bit of sour cream, again, fat. or even a little bit of cheese, again, a tiny sprinkle, not half the flipping thing, right? We can take something and reduce the calories from the red into orange, right? Job's a good one, still doing all right. Then, okay, we can take the orange and slide it into green. So we want to move away, so have a little as the red as we can, have some of the orange, and where we can, primarily try and choose green, right? Majority of the time, consistently. And that would be boiling them, roasting them, again, a teaspoon of oil. Baked potatoes are okay, people. Again, the baked potato is cool, it's what you put on it. Herb roasting them, right? So put some flavour, garlic, rosemary, whatever, right? Chili, ginger, anything, right? On potatoes, two rows, give it flavour, very calorie low on what you're adding to it. So you want to be kind of more consistently around the green, a little bit of the orange, and a few as red as you can. And if you are kind of sitting on the red, trying to transition down slowly as much as possible. So maybe just loading less of the fries with stuff, or less of the butter, less of the milk, or just put butter, no milk, so you can come down the scale and basically, again, create an energy deficit. So again, take out take out all the way you're cooking it and make it a little bit easier for you. And actually, take that principle about the potato that we just imagined and then put that to most food. You can create a different way of looking at your calories, the smallest things, right? So again, if I was to take roasted vegetables, but I layered it with, I know, roasted potatoes, but used goose fat all over the place, and put it onto a plate in front of me, there's a hidden amount of calories in there that I cannot see. To me, though, it's a roast potato with some herbs, so it's okay, right? And actually, what I'm not seeing is how I've cooked it. That principle can go to pretty much anything. I've used the potato because it's one that comes up a lot as I cut out carbs, I don't eat any potatoes, and toast, right, and bread. And we went through the bread with the peanut butter and chocolate spread, right? So I also demonstrated that, guess what? Chocolate spread's okay if it's in moderation and you know what you're doing. And this is the same thing. You can still have a jack potato, sour cream and cheese if you know what's right in terms of calories rather than going overkill. You can still have pretty much a lot of the other foods. Again, moving away from, if it's fried, if it's red, we're kind of going into the boil or the steam or even microwave. So again, if deep fried is up in the red, we're going into amber and into green, right? So it's the same principle. What you're doing is just moving how you cook down the scale towards the amber and greens more often than the reds, so that you get the benefit, right? It's not changing the food. I want to make that clear. I think I'm making that clear anyway. But a lot of people, like I said, will go, right, I've cut out carbs, I've cut out bread, I've cut out potatoes, pasta. Oh, pasta's one. We'll go through pasta. Pasta on its own, there is now wrong with pasta. I'm always talking to a client and I say, yeah, have pasta. They're like, yeah, actually pasta itself in the portion that's appropriate to you, I keep doing this, is actually, there's nothing wrong with it. This is quite cool, right? It's again though, if you take a menu where you've been to an Italian restaurant and you see pasta dishes, cream of white wine, butter, something, right? Anything that takes something the same as you would with a potato that I went through, pasta can still go through the same process. You can take a pasta and nail that with a protein, loads of butter, loads of cream, and a garlic bread on the side probably, right? And actually you can take, again, the calories off the scale, right? Completely off the scale. Or you can take it and take some simple flavours, maybe one or two, without going overkill, and take it all the way down. So again, it's also what you add to it as well as how you cook it. I remember ages ago, I remember being taught how to put to cook it with oil in the water to stop it like sticking, right? So you're actually cooking pasta in oil, right? Those are all things that actually, without you even knowing, will actually add to what you're intaking in terms of calories. So there we go. How to cook for weight loss. Cook down the scale. So take, again, red, amber, green. So to recap, always a question, what can I eat to lose weight? Helen, what foods? Guess what? You can principally anything if you know it's right for you and it's the right moderation and it's cooked in a particular way that helps you. Rather than trying to replace foods or cut them out or restrict yourself, take another look at what you're doing in terms of cooking, the way you are cooking food, and see how you can make changes to that to help you get to where you want to get to. There's nothing wrong, like I said, with 1 cow sprays if that's at one end. Just knowing what portions of fats are right for you and your cooking is really important, and I went over that. Again, take an everyday item, really consider how you're cooking it, look at ways to make small changes to how you're cooking and what you're actually adding into said item to then bring it down the scale so you are consuming less rather than having to cut out entirely, so you can still have the things you enjoy without restricting yourself. Like I said, if you work with us, you can have everything you want and still lose weight. Talk to any clients who's eating cake for the birthday and they're still losing weight. Yeah, that's how we work. So again, principally, work down the scale. And that's me. Tomorrow's perception of size. Leave you that one, what that might mean. In the meantime, as always, have a lovely evening. And if you've got any questions about this or anything else, actually, sling them my way. Don't. Do we say even DM me? Just message me. I think that's a normal thing to say rather than DM because I'm not that cool. So just send me a message on the old book of face or Insta, whatever you want to do. Message me. Slide on into the messages. Wrong. Right. Have a great evening, guys, and catch you later.